We might turn now to the Ramones, who of course become perhaps the most famous band coming out of CBGB's as a punk band. If we think of Blondie being the most famous band because they become perhaps bigger than any other band at some point in time in the 80s, they are the #1 band in the world. And then eventually the Talking Heads, who are also playing at CBGB's at this time, they have their day in the sun. So there's a number of bands that of course become world renowned. The Ramones become world renowned not so much because they genre cross, they become world renowned because they really create the sound of punk, the fast song, the highly distorted guitar. And what we can see here in this particular shot is a kind of quintessential Ramones pose. That is, this is Johnny Ramone playing the guitar. And what you can see in the shot, you can almost hear the music he's playing. You can see him playing a power chord, which is a classic sound for punk and also becomes a classic sound for heavy metal. It's a sort of reduced chord. You don't get 3 notes in the chord. You get what's called an open fifth, maybe an open fifth and an octave, which when sent through a distortion box creates this highly resonant fuzz sound, which we think of as really a big, powerful sound in rock. So you can see him formulating the power chord there. All their chords are power chords, just going up and down the neck of the guitar, very simple to play. And the other thing you can see him doing is a downstroke. And they were known for this rapid downstroke. They didn't strum the guitar like this. They just went down, 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 down. And that creates a very highly percussive sound to the stroke. It's also a wild hand motion and quite vigorous. So you can see it is a perfect shot for actually capturing the sound of the Ramones that became so important. The other interesting thing about the Ramones' look, of course, is this kind of quasi-uniform that they had coming from street hustler look, leather jackets, jeans, sort of bedraggled hair. Famously, they took their name from a pseudonym that Paul McCartney used when he was a young Beatle. So there's kind of a tongue-in-cheek aspect to their own sensibility of using pop and a kind of a secret language of the pop world to promote themselves as this new pop group. So they were interested in being a pop group. Their sound drew on girl group sounds, surfer sounds. Blondie and the Ramones go back to the early 60s sound, which is a key sound as a kind of trashy, disposable time in pop music. They're not interested in the late 60s. The late 60s are the hippies and psychedelia that these 70s rockers are kind of spoofing and also sort of refusing that earnestness with arch sensibility, parody, camp humor. This is the time when punk is really fun, and fun is the sort of #1 aspect of their sensibility. It's not about creating a statement, except they do create a statement by using these early popism, the sort of Warhol sensibility to reject corporate structures. There's this sort of idea of disposable and ephemeral culture is important to what they're doing in pushing against corporate rock. It's also a great sort of documentation of New York at this time, which is rough. It's impoverished. Gerald Ford won't bail it out. And you can see this kind of hustler look going on in the Ramones. But their backs are up against a wall, which has got graffiti. It's a documentation of the moment as well.